Hello students. Now today I am going to teach you the chapter Kathmandu written by Vikram Seth. Now the writer Vikram Seth came from China to India hitchhiking via Tibet and Nepal and wrote about his journey in his book titled Heaven Lake. Now in this excerpt means a part of a long narration. So this is an excerpt from the book Heaven Lake, and we here get to know about his visit to Kathmandu, the capital of Nepal. Let's begin. I get a cheap room in the center of the town and sleep for hours. The next morning, with Mr. Shah's son and nephew, I visit the two temples in Kathmandu that are most sacred to Hindus and Buddhists. Sacred means holy, Povitro. What was the first temple? Pashupatinath temple. At Pashupatinath, outside which a sign proclaims entrance for the Hindus only. There is an atmosphere of febrile confusion, means hurried activity. Everyone is busy. Okay, people are moving to and fro from here and there. Everyone is busy. Priests, hawkers, devotees, tourists. Devotees matlab bhakto. Tourists, cows, monkeys, pigeons and dogs roam through the grounds. We offer a few flowers. There are so many worshippers that some people trying to get the priest's attention are elbowed aside by others pushing their way to the front. A princess of the Nepalese royal house appears. Everyone bows and makes way for the princess and her family. By the main gate, a party of saffron-clad Westerners struggle for permission to enter. The policeman is not convinced that they are the Hindus. They are Hindus because only Hindus are allowed to enter the temple. A fight breaks out between two monkeys. One chases the other, who jumps onto a Shivalinga, then runs screaming around the temples and down to the river, the holy Bagmati, that flows below. See how beautifully he describes everything. Okay, it seems that everything is happening in front of you. Whatever he is seeing, he is just writing down from his memory. A corpse means a dead body, is being cremated. একটা মৃতদেহকে পুরানো হচ্ছিল. Okay. On its banks, washerwomen are at their work and children bathe. বাচ্চারা স্নান করছিল. From a balcony, a basket of flowers and leaves, old offerings now wilted means spoiled, okay, rotten, is dropped into the river. A small shrine means temple, half protrudes means comes out, okay, half comes out from the stone platform on the river bank. When it emerges fully, the goddess inside will escape and the evil period of the Kali Yuga will end on earth. This is the belief of the people, okay. When the shrine completely emerges out from the stone platform onto the river bank, the goddess inside will escape and the evil period of the Kali Yuga will end on earth. At the Bodhnath Stupa, the Buddhist shrine of Kathmandu, there is in contrast a sense of stillness. So in Pashupatinath, there was a lot of buzz and activity. In Bodhnath Stupa, in contrast, there is a sense of stillness. Okay, it is very calm, very peaceful. Its immense white dome is ringed by a road. Small shops stand on its outer edge. Many of these are owned by Tibetan immigrants. Felt bags, Tibetan prints, and silver jewelry can be bought here. There are no crowds. This is a heaven of quietness in the busy streets around. So everywhere it is busy and full of people, full of crowd, full of jostling and dodging and everything. And in the middle of that, this is a place which is a very safe place for the tourists, because here there is no crowd. Okay, people can effortlessly stroll around here. Kathmandu is vivid, mercenary. What is the meaning of mercenary? Mercenary means this place is a business hub. Okay, this place is very vivid, means lively, full of shops, full of merchants, full of customers, religious with small shrines to flower-adorned deities along the narrowest and busiest streets, with flute sellers, okay, bashi bikreta, hawkers of postcards means small pictures of gods and goddesses, okay, shops selling Western cosmetics, film rolls, and chocolate, or copper utensils and Nepalese antiques. Film songs blare out from the radios. Okay, so film songs can be heard from the radios. Car horns sound, bicycle bells ring, stray cows low questioningly at motorcycles. Low means make a sound. Okay, hamba hamba sound. Okay, questioningly at motorcycles. Vendors shout out their wares. Okay, आइए खरीदिए हमारे चीज खरीदिए. Okay, they are shouting their trade cry. I indulge myself mindlessly without thinking much. Buy a bar of marzipan, a corn on the cob, roasted in a charcoal brazier on the pavement. A couple of rubbed with salt, chili powder, and lemon. A couple of love story comics, and even a Reader's Digest. These are the things that a author bought. Marzipan means a sweet made with grated almond. Almond is a kind of nut. Brazier means unun. Okay, katkoilar unun. Okay. All this I washed down with Coca-Cola and nauseating orange drink. Nauseating means emitting a very bad smell, and feel much the better for it. So, okay, so I digest all these things along with Coca-Cola and a nauseating orange drink and feel much the better for it. Okay, somehow I managed to consume it. I consider what route I should take back home. If I were propelled by enthusiasm for travel per se, I would go by bus and train to Patna and then sail up the Ganges past Benares to Allahabad, then up the Yamuna past Agra to Delhi. So, if I listen to my instincts, if I listen to my enthusiasm, okay, then if I go by itself, okay, if I am propelled or directed by my enthusiasm, then I would first go by bus and train to Patna, then sail the Ganges past Benares to Allahabad, and then up the Yamuna past Agra to Delhi. But I am too exhausted, I am too tired and homesick. Today is the last day of August. Go home, I tell myself, move directly towards home. I enter a Nepal Airlines office and buy a ticket for tomorrow's flight. Okay. So he was too tired to travel by bus or train. So what he does, he buys the flight tickets. I look at the flute seller standing in a corner of the square near the hotel. In his hand is a pole with an attachment at the top from which 50 or 60 bansuris protrude in all directions. Means অনেকগুলো বাঁশি এদিক ওদিক সেদিক থেকে গোঁজা রয়েছে একটা লাঠি ভেতর দিয়ে. Protrude means that comes out, okay, like the quills of a porcupine, okay, like the মানে সজারুর কাঁটার মতো. ওকে, সজারুর কাঁটার মতো আর কি, মানে অনেকগুলো বাঁশি এদিক ওদিক সেদিক থেকে আর কি মানে গোঁজা রয়েছে. They are of bamboo. They are made of bamboo. They are cross flutes and recorders. From time to time, he stands the pole on the ground, selects a flute and plays for a few minutes. The sound rises clearly above the noise of the traffic and the hawkers' cries. Okay, so there are noise of traffic and hawkers, and still his sound manages to surpass that sound. Okay, so that it can be heard from a distance. He plays slowly, meditatively, means thoughtfully, without excessive display, without excessive show off. He does not shout out his wares. Okay, he does not shout his straight cry. Aye, मुझसे बांसुरी खरीदिए. Okay, so he doesn't shout his straight cry that come here and buy my flutes. Okay, he just plays the flute, plays a sweet tune. Okay, in his flute. Occasionally he makes a sale, but in a curiously offhanded way, as if this were incidental to his enterprise. Okay, so he sells very casually, as if he is not interested with how many basuris or flutes he sells. Okay, in an hour or in a particular day. Okay, so he casually sells the flutes to his customers whenever one or two customers comes near him. Sometimes he breaks off playing to talk to the fruit seller. Sometimes he stops playing and then he talks to the fruit seller. I imagine that this has been the pattern of his life for years. Okay, this has been his lifestyle, or this has been his way of merchandise for years. I find it difficult to tear myself away from the square, to get myself removed from this square. Flute music always does this to me. It is at once the most universal and most particular of sounds. There is no culture that does not have its flute. The reed ne, the recorder, the Japanese shakuhachi, the deep bansuri of Hindustani classical music, means the shanai, the clear or breathy flutes of South America, the high-pitched Chinese flutes. Each has its specific fingering and compass. Okay, each has its specific way of fingering and compass, the way of placing the fingers in the holes to make different notes. Okay, it weaves its own associations, means it is related to its own country and own culture. Yet to hear any flute is, it seems to me, to be drawn into the commonality of all mankind, to be moved by music closest in its phrases and sentences to the human voice. So Vikram says that the sound that emerges out of a flute is the most common sound, that means the sound of human voice. Just as the bansuri is played by the mouth, the player exhales into the flute to produce music, and when he pauses to take breath, the music of the flute also stops. Now the music of the flute enchanted Vikram Seth so much that he could not go away from that place. He finds flute music to be the most universal sound. He finds flute music to be the most universal sound. Flutes are played in many regions and have different names and different varieties. Some are low pitched, some are high pitched, like the high pitched flutes of China. And each flute has a different way of playing it, and each sound varies in its pitch and depth. But if one thing common is that it is the sound of human voice. Okay, a human plays that. Its motive force too is living breath. It too needs to pause and breathe before it can go on. That means, as the bansuri is played by the mouth, the player exhales into the flute to produce music, and when he pauses to take a breath, the music of the flute also stops. যে বাঁশি বাজাচ্ছে সে ফুটোয় ফুঁ দিয়ে বাঁশি বাজছে, এবং যখন সে ক্লান্ত হয়ে কিছুক্ষণ থামছে, বাঁশির আওয়াজটাও থেমে যাচ্ছে. That I can be so affected by a few familiar phrases on the bansuri surprises me at first, for on the previous occasions that I have returned home after a long absence abroad, I have hardly noticed such details and certainly have not invested them with the significance I now do. Means the author is surprised that he is deeply influenced by the sounds of the bansuri. Never before has he noticed something in such depth as he noticed the flute seller and his uh, sellable commodities that particular day. So I hope that you have understood this extract from Heaven Lake. This much for today. Goodbye.